Hello, Ogi. Do you recommend some books for the chess improvement? First of all, I recommend you Botvinnik books for chess improvement. Auerbach books, improvement in end games, and some books where strong players annotated and explain plans in middle game. There are a lot of books. You are welcome, Ogi. Jigsaw, hello. You say good evening. It means you are not from Central Europe or from UK, yes? Probably, maybe you're from India, some Asian country. Because for me it's 5:30, 5:35 of evening. So we are definitely not 2 hours or 3 hours behind. So probably you're up. What means 2:35? But 2:35? Ah, okay. You wish me good evening. You was counting about my time. Okay. 2:35. It means you are 4 hours behind. So we are from England, I guess. Barack, which Barack it is? Obama or decide to play chess or which? Uh, I remember when I was playing in Chinese league, our captain, he speaks zero English, maybe only hi. That was all what he was know. And my surname Jobava was for him very hard to say, so he was calling me easily Obama. He was calling me just Obama. Okay, I said okay, I'm Obama. It's alright. I am Dude Doom. Thank you very much. Your account name sounds a little bit like Turkish. I don't know why. Remind me some song of uh, forget his Turkish famous Turkish singer name. Ah, okay. It's a Latin, yeah. Okay. And what it means? Remind me. Something like I am the great. Okay, guys. Today I wanted to start my stream, at least first part of stream, with mistakes in the opening and show you few games and show you how not to play. And we all know that in war, it's very important to develop your forces, right? Very quickly to have good communications, and then every clash, every battle will be successful for you. It's the same like in chess is the same like in battle, like in real life. Here also, development of your pieces is very important in opening stage to play better and meet a middle game with developing forces and fight for advantage. But often, I'm sure every of us had such a games that it was uh, early mistakes from us or opening disasters. And then I wanted to show you and explain you how it happens. First of all, how players usually lost tempos to develop uh, in the opening. There is normally uh, three mistakes what they do. For example, they allowed opponent to attack with a less valuable piece to more valuable. Like for example, if we play with white and opponent play queen d5, so this kind of knight is less powerful piece than queen. So when we attack this queen, it has to retreat. So this is the first tempo. Of course, it doesn't mean that it's bad, but that's like example. This is very common. Another mistake usually happens when you lose much temps to win some material in the opening, and then you're very far behind from development. That happens often. And third one also happens when you trade your developed piece to undeveloped piece of opponent. That's also very common mistake. Yeah. So from this theoretical thoughts, let's go to some practical. I will not tell names of players on purpose. Just want to show you how they was playing, and in the end of the games, I will tell you the names. So as an example, in one of the games where we played two very strong players, we will see how one of them played like amateur. So King's Gambit was played by white, and black played d5 here. And after ed, the main move is e4, uh, and it calls Bear's counter gambit. e4 was very popular. Also Morphe's games, famous Morphe games was played with e4. But Queen d5 first inaccuracy. Even if ef was better. Queen d5, Knight c3, like in Scandic system, with tempo to the queen. Black retreats, so they lost first tempo. Fe, they regain material, otherwise would be d4. And after bishop e2, black played bishop g4 here to avoid knight f3. They want to take, and d4, attacking the queen. It's another tempo here, and he played queen e6. In case of bishop e2, knight e2, uh, and next move bishop e4. Again, white is very far ahead of development, so he played queen e6 here, and queen d3 played by white. So obviously white is preparing to castle on long side here. After queen d3, black played c6. We see they did not develop uh, almost all pieces. Queen just played few moves, and this bishop will be traded soon. So bishop f4, logical move, putting this bishop on nice diagonal and preparing long castle. After that, knight f6, finally developed another piece, long castle, and bishop e2, knight g2, and bishop d6 played by black here. So we see that white has a much stronger and faster development and ready for the actions are ready. Uh, Probably the most resistant move was knight bd7, maybe try to even go long castle. And after bishop d6, it leads to very quick punishment of such a waste of time in the opening. Perfect example. And d5, very strong move here, attacking the queen, and it's made this decision made on the general rule of chess, which says um, such a opening of the game always favors for that side who is better prepared for the actions. So d5, knight d5 was played by black. The point that after queen d7 would be unpleasant bishop d6 move, and after queen d6, dc. So now queen c6 leads to mate in 1. Only move would be queen d3 and cb, beautiful move. And unfortunately for black, they cannot defend this. For example, check, king b1, you don't have queen e4 because we take. And this will be ba, another queen, and just rook up. Two rooks versus one. Yeah, this would leads to beautiful win. Black countered this and played knight d5. Calculated, I want to say. After cd, most probably knight b5 would be unpleasant move here, attacking the bishop, forced to take, and then check, and very huge attack here. Knight d5 played by black. Knight d5, cd. We see that white is very ready, much better than black, because they have both sides have queens on the board. Also, this queen always get attacked. Knight on developed, and this rook also developed, and potentially this rook will come here with checks or pin. And queen g3, strong move. This is a punishment. Attacking here and attacking here, no time for castle. This move finishes the game because bishop cannot retreat here. This will hang. So forcing to take. Knight f4 with tempo. Another tempo to queen. Queen h6. So we can even count. This was number 15 of move. And black played one move here. Then played another move here. Then third move here, four moves. So out of 50 moves, they made four by queen. And all these tempos was very important. Rook h e1 check, not allow castle. We can even compare the position of white rooks and black rooks, yes. So after king f8 was played queen e3 check, king g8 and mate. So from first sight, it's like some amateur players played by black, but in the real, it was very strong grandmaster, Alatortsev. So this game played between Tolush, Alatortsev in Moscow 1948. Yeah, that was a disaster. Another game between very strong players. Uh, Before I continue, I will once again refresh my chat because I'm not getting any messages, guys. Okay, until it will start. E4 played by by white, D6 by black. No, sorry, G6, D4, Bishop G7. The pierced defense, Knight C3, D6. So main move here is F4, then Knight F3. But in this game, white played Knight F3 immediately, Knight F6, and played Bishop E2. So this well-known position. Yesterday in the stream we see the game between Karpov and Korchnoi played C5, then Karpov played D5 and won that game. Bishop G4 was also played one of the game. This time Knight C6 black plays. They want to play against this center. Next move Bishop G4 or E5. That's why white pushes D5, and this knight has to retreat because such exchanges are favors for white. They will put bishop here and then start to assault on the queen side. And this pawn are reducing the power of this bishop. That's why knight b8 played by black. They provoked d5 and they want to break this pawn. But they already lost tempo. Uh, so the point of this maneuver also sometimes this knight can be transferred here because this pawn not controls anymore this square here. So rook e1 played by black, by white, everything is logical, and e5. Guys, I did not get any messages so far. I don't see messages. Sorry, I use this uh, separate chat. I'm not watching from the channel's chat, so it sometimes gets stuck. So sorry that if I did not say hello or did not read because I simply did not see your messages. Uh, so e5 was played by black here. Yeah, was interesting to play c6 here directly. Try to play against center with very complex position. E5 played by black. Interesting decision. Another plan would be to play knight d2, knight c4, a4 with accent to play on the queen side. It depends on the test of player. So d was taken, bishop e6. F would be positional mistake, duo of e5, very unpleasant move. And in case of this knight goes somewhere like here, these pawns will become weak. And in case of d, white can exchange and take here, and this pawn in that game will be chronicle weakness. So bishop e6 obviously take by black, bishop f4 by white, with either queen d2 and then play bishop g5, and you cannot push it away with h6. That's why black plays h6, control this square. But the point that they're defending against direct threats, but they're losing so much time. Knight d4, aiming to take this important bishop. Obviously, black keeps this important bishop on the board. And queen d2. We see that every move, black is losing so much time. First, they played knight c6, then knight b8. Then played bishop e6, bishop d7. Then played h6, White developed bishop, then queen d2, or very useful moves, attacking pawn, so forcing another waste of time. So such a games, such a play not recommended. Uh, and now when White has such a big advantage of development, they're um, ready to open the position. So next move of Black would be or knight c6 or rook e8, preventing e5. That's why White started immediate action in the center. e5. d is almost like only move here. You cannot play with such a pawn. d, bishop e5, and knight e4 played by Black. The Unfortunately for them, knight c6 is not possible because we take knight c6, and after bc the pawn structure is very weak, positionally very bad position, and after bishop 6 we simply take and take this pawn. That's how uh, ad advantage in development transforms to the material advantage. That's why Black played knight e4. The point that after rook e8 to attack bishop, probably White wanted to play bishop f3, not only prevent to take on e5, but same time attacking here, and then rook a d1, and just with perfect development. But I guess Black should play like something like this, and maybe c6 and knight goes here, because I don't like the exchanges this knight, which was developed into for this bishop, but it's in general it's good for Black, but not in this concrete position when they are too much behind of development. Knight e4, bishop e5, he took, and in this position, White played strong move knight f3, attacking bishop, so he need to retreat on g7. Uh, the point that after bishop b2, rook a d1, c3 was a threat. Also, this was very annoying pin here with a huge pressure. After bishop g6, maybe even queen f4 was coming, or h4, h5, and or bishop c4. So this was very dangerous. That's why Black plays bishop g7 directly here. Anyway, rook a1. We see that White is perfectly developed. They have also knight c5 idea. By the way, in this position, what I'm telling, this was move actually mistake because of knight c5. Yes, and we're losing this knight, this bishop because there's a pin. So they could not play bishop g7. But next move be c3, attacking bishop, and they lost control over this diagonal. The Whistler, hello man, I'm very well. How are you? So bishop g7 played by Black. Rook a d1. White completely developed and ready for the actions. They're not afraid uh, for any contact. So threat is knight c5 right here and wins this bishop. That's why Black goes to c8 and bishop c4. We know that in chess f7 or f2 usually pawns are the most weak in position. So White takes aim on this f7 pawn, and also opening this E uh, file, also creating some kind of knight G5 ideas. Thank you very much for compliments. Bishop E8 was played by Black. We see that if you have to play such moves, something go really wrong. Look at this. All pieces are on 8 ranks. Only this bishop is the most active bishop. In case of bishop G4, would be very unpleasant tactics here. Knight E G5 check. You have to accept the piece sacrifice, knight g5 check, aiming to take on f7, uh, king g8, and then anyway knight f7 here. Black has to accept, otherwise just free attack. In case of king h7, maybe we can even connect this queen here. Rook f7 is necessary. Uh, Thank you for cheer, Rocky, MTN Chess. Thank you, man. Rocky, you're a big fan of Sylvester Stallone, maybe. And after rook f7, there would be queen d8 check, forcing to take it on d8. Then rook d8. King cannot leave because loses of this rook, and here is also pin with winning position. And after bishop goes to f8, there would be a rook e8, and uh, uh, completely smashed White's position, Black's position, because rook f8 is a threat because of pin, and in case of king g7 there is a bishop f7. This hangs, I mean, totally disaster for Black here. So most probably Black was very strong player. you you will be surprised who was playing here. So bishop e8 he played. But the point that the advantage in development and um, activity of the pieces to compare to opponents gives opportunity for white to start immediate actions after knight g5 check here. For example, in case of king g8 now, king h8 also uh, leads to another problems. Probably after queen d8, we exchange the queens, and then this will be hanged, knight f7 hang. After king g8, very unpleasant move, knight e6, attacking the rook. And we cannot take because of check and winning the queen here on c8. So this was winning immediately. And yeah, after 96 was destroyed. That's why AG played by uh, opponent, knight g5 check, king g8 now, but queen f4. The point that after you accept this piece, sacrifice this h file opponent, so white uses for transfer queen on h7, give mate. Aha, you're welcome. I'll live next to the mountains. Mountain. Ah, okay. Rocky Mountain Chess. I understand. In Colorado, USA. Oh, Colorado Avalanche. I like the team very much. Very, very nice team. Especially McKinnon, very strong player. Rantanen and these guys. Yeah, movies legendaries. Very nice. Colorado has to be a very beautiful place, I'm sure, in USA. A lot of mountains, right? Beautiful nature. Should be also a lot of lakes, I believe. Very nice. Probably very nice place to make camping. Some camps, picnics and so on. Fishing. So the threat is queen h4 here. In case of bishop h6 to try to exchange this strong knight, rook e8, very annoying sacrifice here. Now rook e8 leads to mate in 2 here. So queen e8 is the only move. And queen f6, beautiful idea. With threat queen g6 and give mate on h7. And after queen f6, um, bishop g5, queen g6 check, king h8, there is an intermediate check, very important, forcing to king go to under the check, and after queen g5, uh, king h8, there is a rook d4, because the point that we want to give mate, and in case of check, we just simply cover this check, and this is you cannot defend. Yeah, queen f6 is just devastating. Uh, so bishop h6 doesn't work. So that's why he played knight d7 with hope to bring this knight here and protect this square. But white calculated everything very precisely. Rook d7 they took. After queen d7 there is a mate after queen h4 because rook cannot leave this square because of bishop. And after bishop d7 was played, bishop f7, black simply resigned. King h8 leads to mate in 2. And after rook f7, queen f7, king h8, there's a few ways to win. First, rook e7, another queen g6, which probably also quite enough. But I like simple rook e7 here, just take. So black is right, and the game was played between Mikhail Tal and Tigran Petrosyan. Can you imagine such a strong player by black, like Petrosyan, played such a way, and it was quite one of the peak of his career, 1974. Avalanche, yeah. Fishing, yes, yes. Very Colorado, yeah, yeah. Should be very beautiful. Nice. So we see how very strong players make such a mistakes. Another game, also very interesting. It's not super strong players, but still very decent players. It was played between Rosito versus Dorin in Argentina 1996. Banana, nice. Hello, man. So E4 played by. I'm trying to show you different openings same time. C5, knight f3, knight f6. We know that after knight f6, this calls a lock in defense. And c5, knight f3, knight f6 was implemented by legendary Akiba Rubinstein. He implemented a lot of systems and variations in chess. Um, so idea that c5 stops this pawn to go to d4. But knight f6, it's not popular, especially on top level nowadays, because it leads to very dangerous positions. Knight d5, knight c3. And now main move is e6, which is very playable, especially in blitz. But in this game, Dorin took on c3, and uh, dc. This move is nice, opening the queen, opening the diagonal. For maybe I like to play this kind of position with going to long castle. And now d5, a hard. Blake choose a hard variation in this opening, or better say, tough variations. Probably preferable was knight c6, and after bishop a4, e6, and next something like queen c7, b6, bishop b7. But still, white's position is preferable. White can play this, queen e2, long castle, or just directly queen d long castle and have initiative. But d5 played by black, and after this, ed. So white are ready to open the position. Queen d6 they played, and bishop d3. Uh, Also very perspective play after queen d6, ed, and bishop a4 with following long castle. This endgame also not good for black. But white wants to keep queens on board and attack for bishop d3, and black plays g6. There was a game between Parma and Kozomara in Yugoslavia, 1962. Black continues knight c3, which looks more natural, but after bishop e3, e5, and knight g5, they also got troubles because queen f3 is coming with long castle, or knight e4, this will be attacked. We see that this is not recommended play like that. But in this game, g6, very, very slow development. So black are like slow motion video type. Can you imagine, like g6, bishop g7, long castle? This is too slow. Hello, Basset Pawn. Nice name. Hello, welcome. Mehdi. Uh, Sir, can black play a c4 and exchange the queens? You mean here? They can do it, but they simply will be without pawn, right? So you go to, first you give pawn, you go to end game. So there is not any compensation for pawn. But to compare what happened in game, maybe it was not too bad decision. So g6 played by black, bishop is a logical continuation, and also c5 now. This move emphasizes the weakness of this pawn. For example, b6 loses immediately, trying to support and play bishop b7, duel of bishop e4, attacking the rook, and after knight c6, we simply exchange this queen and take this knight with check, and also take this rook. So b6 immediately blunder and loses. That's why black plays knight c6 finally, and knight g5. Strong move. The threat is knight e4 and win this pawn. For example, after b6 here would be bishop c4, very unpleasant move, attacking this pawn, queen d1, rook d1. White's development is so fast and so well good that they not afraid, not avoiding even queen exchange here. And here black has moves knight e5 or e6. For example, e6 is bishop b5 with probably with huge material losses for black. For example, bishop b7, then knight f7 here. King f7, there will be check and the take here, and pawn up, and also pair of bishops. Rocky Mountain Colorado man, thank you very much for subscription. I appreciate it. You just came and subscribed. S McQueen. What? Sorry, I don't understand the question. You on Bremer Kogan? Is it some openings name? Maybe I don't know the English name. Or what is that? I don't understand, man. Can you explain me, please? Okay, so after this, we see that e6 was losing after bishop b5, and in case of knight e5 here, would be bishop d5, unpleasant move, attacking the rook, and after rook b8, bishop e4 with winning position, because there is a pin, and after bishop d7 we can take here, for example, and take here, attacking rook, attacking bishop, and game is over. It was some people who I thought were on the chat. Okay. GMPZ, what would you recommend for someone who seems to get a lot of early game advantage and then somehow throws them or draws a lot with the advantage? My late game is such trash. Maybe also your problem. Maybe you get relaxed and you lose your concentration. That's also also the point. So I recommend you to learn Bobby Fischer games. Once he felt that his opponent shows weakness, he was, instead of relax, he was double up or triple up his power and played mercilessly. Thank you, Rocky. Nice from you, man. Appreciate. So this would be a disaster if Black would play b6. That's why after knight g5 they decide to play knight e5 to get exchange this very strong bishop. But White disagree to do it. They give check on b5. And after bishop d7, they not exchange here, but they play queen is a strong move, supporting bishop, opening this square for the rook. We see that half bad is black position already. Queen b6, try to avoid the tempo and forcing white to take on d7, but which is not bad now. And after knight d7, long castle, not only protecting but also develop the rook. We see that white has a much better development, right? They have three pieces in the game and black has two, and also direct threat knight f7 is coming here. Gaming on the table PC, I think the most common mistake is early bishop f5 in Slav structures. Yeah, that also happens. Yeah, I just get so tilted how many times I throw a game in plus. Okay, believe me, everybody get tilted. Happens, especially on beginner level. This direct threat is knight f7. What would be after bishop g7, for example? So queen c6 played by black. Long castle not possible because knight f7. So they're trying to defend this knight. And after this, uh, unfortunately for them, they're losing by force. Queen c4 strong move. And probably the best decision in this position was white attacked here. To play knight e5 and give this pawn. But obviously, black in real troubles here. For example, after bishop e6, white simply protect this knight and stay with pawn up. But this was probably less painful. But black are greedy in the game, play e6, and they allowed immediate punishment here. Blaunika, gamarjoba. And rook d7, very strong move. White is using the development and start immediate actions because king d7 loses after knight f7. We're attacking the rook and also threat is fork. So queen d7 is only move. For example, b5 was not helping here. Due of, for example, queen e4 attacking this, and after queen d7, rook d1. Another rook comes with tempo. We don't feel the exchange, yes, because these rooks are so passive. Queen e7. In case of queen b7, was winning queen e5 here and attacking rook and then completely destroying here. Maybe the knight e6 after take queen e6 and take there. That's why black plays in this position queen e7 to have this f6 move. But here white plays simply knight e4, aiming knight f6, aiming knight d6, and also attacking here. And they simply winning, or even bishop c5 here. That's why black in this position they decide to take the rook, but rook d1, attacking the queen. Queen goes to, yeah, white are very active. So queen goes back to c6. After queen c6, queen f4. Very strong move, attacking this pawn. Using that queen cannot protect it from c7. And f6 not possible, we simply take. So only move is f5, nothing else. And now queen e5. And this move emphasizes the weakness of e6 pawn, attacking the rook. and after rook g8, even not take here because it gives some chances to bishop e7 or king f7, but simply queen f6 strong move. So mate in idea queen f7, we cannot defend like this because we check and take the rook. Rook g7, only move to prevent immediately mate, but after knight e6, black simply resign here. We attack the rook, only move rook f7, but they will be mate into this and this. So this was another disaster uh, in the opening. Another game was played between the good players, strong players, in correspondent chess. Can you imagine? In correspondent chess, black made such a mistakes. So game was going almost 1 year from 1964, 1965. So D4, because in that time we know there is no emails. They were sending by post, normal traditional post. So it was taking so much time. I remember my father also was playing. Aras Yamasu, can I know your suggestion for calculation improvement for IM? Okay, me myself, I'm calculating combinations, tactical combinations, and also study puzzles and these kind of like compositions or puzzles like uh, mate in three and above. Mate in two is too easy, so mate in three and above. This very improves calculations, and also it's unlogical to hear, but end game calculations improve your skills very much. Especially, I recommend to calculate very complex pawn end games because there is usually play move by move. It's not like rook end games where you need to understand the plans, cut of kings, how to promote, how to lot of nuances. But in pawn end games, it's very close to mathematics. So it's like determined positions and very good for calculations. Very useful and same time very hard. I remember one about I don't know how about months ago maybe or 3 weeks ago, I was accidentally on Ray Robson stream and he was solving some puzzles, but in one moment, okay, he was tired, but still I showed him some very complex opponent game, and it was very hard to solve for him. So without hints, it's almost impossible in that puzzle of I remember opponent game was going into a queen end game. Can you imagine? Yeah, Ruches. Yeah, that's my mood. Um, 1 second, guys. Blaunica is what? H3 G4 is a good way to start with whites. Is it some sarcastic question or you're just beginner? I don't know how to answer these questions. If seriously, it's a very bad beginning. If you are just making fun, then I will skip to comments. Yeah, I hope so. I hope you're making fun here. Okay, Yudovich Borisenko, d4 played by white in correspondent chess. t6, e4, g6 here, knight c3, bishop g7, f4. Yeah, this is the most principal line here. White creates strong center and then support with pieces here. Have to train them for playing creative chess like you. The best training is practice. Try to play and also learn on the games of creative players. There have been a lot of in chess history. So f4, c6 played by black, knight f3, knight d7, bishop e2, e5 played by black. We know that in opening actually main plan is knight f6, knight f3, castle, bishop d3, then preparing e4 or even immediately. But in this game, black chooses another plan, e5 and castle by white. Now they provocate black to accept the pawn sack, and black is going for that. They fall for it, even in correspondent chess. So normal continuation would be here something like maybe knight e7 with preparing to castle, but They take ed, knight d4, and queen b6, attacking the knight. Only move bishop e3 and taking here. Of course, white predicted this, especially in correspondent chess, and he played queen d2, protecting the knight, preparing rook b1 or rook d1, and queen b4. It's more or less a forced move here, because, for example, after queen e3 would be very unpleasant move knight cb5. This queen controls here. Knight c7 is a threat after cb. Knight b5. This not possible because of bishop, and this after knight c7, black is collapsed here. And for example, if black would play knight gf6 logical move inside the castle, then e5 would be very unpleasant here. And after da fe, knight e5, bishop g5 would be with very strong initiative for white here. But they played queen b4, and now the natural move was rook b1, but that was inaccuracy. They played rook d1 strong move, so this rook has to be here, it's more useful. And after knight gf6, maybe black should play knight e7 actually, because after knight gf6 it allowed very strong move e5. So white uses that they are absolutely prepared for the actions. We see all pieces on the ideal positions, and they play e5, attacking the knight and forcing to take this pawn. Knight e5 and knight b3, or suddenly from this side. We see that white analyzed this position very carefully, and now his opponent played, Borisenko played knight f d7 here. The point that after knight d5, there would be very opposite knight d5, queen d2, and then knight c7 check. In case of king e7, we simply take the queen and also this hangs. And after king d8, there would be knight e8. And this queen goes nowhere, and white is winning the piece after queen d1, rook d1. Also grab this pawn, and this knight will escape to b6. Uh, so that's why in this position they played knight f7 to stop bishop c5 move. I'm not sure, maybe knight d7 was possible. I'm not sure about this position, but definitely white has extremely high initiative. Maybe after this even bishop c5 is possible, because we cannot take, there is a mate. Yeah, it's an extremely dangerous position for black, so they played here, this. Ah, yes, and bishop c5 anyway he played. So using that, this is untouchable. Only move is queen h4, only square for queen. Yes, there was also two moves here. Bishop e6 or castle. After castle, it was bishop c5 here. And after queen h4, bishop f4, bishop f4, and then g3, attacking the queen, and then this knight will fall down also. And after bishop e6, it would be bishop c5, queen h4, and after queen h4, g3 here, queen h3, and queen d6. This was the idea. Mating in one is coming. Only move is knight g8. Otherwise, bishop f8, simply queen e5. So knight g8 and knight e4 here with a huge advantage. So white wants to play queen c7, then knight d6, and so a terrible attack is coming. That's why they played knight f d7 here. And after knight f d7, bishop c5 played by white. Queen h4 and rook f4. We see all pieces are attacking this queen. Queen h6 played by black. Probably after queen d8, white would play knight e4, using that they cannot take here because of queen d8, and the knight d6 is a very huge threat. So queen h6 is the only move. Queen g5 also leads to knight e4. Queen h6, knight e4 anyway. So once black loses control d8 square, you cannot take on c5 here. And after knight e4, this operation to win this pawn leads to disaster here. So king d8 played by black. Bishop f8 was mistake because of mate in 2 after knight f6, or mate in 2, or just leads to huge material uh, loses after knight f6. There's a mate, and after king d8, white can take here, then take rook f7. Ah, no, rook f7 is queen g2. Probably something like bishop d4 is enough here, attacking the knight, and then we eliminate and give mate here. That's why he played king d8, tried some escape somewhere, but there is no place to go. Bishop e3 played by white, aiming rook f7. g5, rook f5. Now bishop g5 is a threat. Queen e6 played by black. Bishop g5 check. We see that f6 is also not possible. At least rook f6 we can take, then take and take the rook here using this pin. So king c7 he played, and after knight bc5 he simply resigned. For example, after knight queen f5 here would be queen d6 check. Only move is king b6 here. Rook b1 check, and after king f5 there is a mate d2. We see in case of knight c5 here would be very unpleasant check from d8, king b8, and then knight c5. Using that after queen e5 there is a mate on d6. And in case of queen d5 here would lead to win after knight a6, beautiful check, ba, and queen b4 check here. And black has to resign because after queen b5 there is a mate in 2 here, and after bishop b7 we just take this queen and then give this mate. Yeah, this is how Udovic beat Borisenko for inaccuracy. Yeah, this typical sacrifice on b2, we know it happens in few different openings. For example, in Najdorf system, after white play bishop g5 f4, there is a sacrifice on b2, leads to a very complex game, which it's still not refuted by white. There is a question why such an experienced master like Borisenko, he was a USSR champion in correspondent chess. Can you imagine why he was going after this b2 pawn? Of course, he knew that he is behind the development, but probably he saw that he has good chances to defend his positions. Maybe in practical game over the board on blitz or something, maybe it would be possible. But in correspondent chess, when your opponent has a lot of time, comfort to analyze, it's very risky. Yeah, for example, next game also played with very strong players. I will not tell names right now. Uh, very original play. So d4 played by white here. Gaming on terrible PC. Everyone accepts pawns today. They don't care about the initiative. Probably they analyze before accepting. So d5, c4, e6, knight c3, knight f6, bishop, no, knight f3, c5. This is the Tarrasch system. cd, main line is ed, g3, Rubinstein system, but knight d5 is also possible. And e4 is one of the main moves. Then black change on c3, then change on d4, then give check and change on d2 leads to a very complex position. But e3 also classical line. We remember it from the Botvinnik games. He'll like to play it with white this position. cd ed. Or suddenly from the Tarrasch system we transpose to the Panov's attack of Caro-Kann system. This position also can arise like this. E4, C6, T4, D5, ED, CD, C4, E6, knight C3, knight F6, knight F3, CD, for example, knight 6, CD, and knight D5. Or bishop B4. Like I played this many times with black, by the way. CD, knight D5. Yeah, in current game, it was same situation. Uh, Queen c2 played by bishop d2, also main line. Then after knight c6, there's a bishop d3 castle, and queen sometimes goes to e4, and then transfer to h4 after knight f6. But this is opening nuances. We don't know right now. Knight c6 and bishop d3 played by white. Let me read a little bit chat. Yeah, especially in neither if you don't prepare with both sides in this very sharp line after bishop g5, queen b2, you are busted. Um, James Blunder, would you be interested in play against Naroditsky versus World Series on Charlotte Chess? It's always interesting to play against Daniel. I'm always ready to play. It's up to him. Maybe for him it will be boring because I'm not as quick as him, especially in one plus means this actually 1+1 or 1+0. I don't consider like a chess at all. It's just more like for fun. I think it's more decent games would be like 3+1 or 3+2 games like I'm used to play. They are not too bad. Is chess 960 future of chess? I don't know which future or not, but it's very exciting game. I really like it. I played once on one of the stream. I played on Lichess Arena one first time in my life. The tournament, I really like it. I think it's very interesting, and it's pity that there are not much tournaments of it. Would be interesting to play more. Um, so white in this position, they offered the pawn sacrifice. And this well-known idea. Usually black avoids it with a castle move or bishop e7 here. But in this game, black accepts. So I want to tell you, two very strong players was played from both sides. I will not tell who. First, let's see the game. BC and knight d4. This was the idea of white sacrifice. Knight d5 and queen d4. Black is using that bishop pinning the pawn from this side, queen pinning the pawn from this side. So once you take here lost rook, here you physically cannot take. Rochette, Ro Roches dude, thank you for following. So after BC, uh, queen d4, bishop b5 played by white. And now first trap from white, because if you play natural bishop d7, you lose a piece after bishop d7. Queen d7 lose control of diagonal. We simply take on b4, and in case of king d7, there is a very unpleasant check, and then we take with queen here. So you immediately lose the game. So king is e7 played by black. So now from the general understanding, king e7 more preferable than king f8 because king f8 closed the way for the rook, but this concrete game shows that maybe it was better. And castle, strong move. White is not afraid to give more material for fast development and initiative here. So queen c3 played by black. We see that they have two moves only. Take like this or t or this. Bishop c3 would be very bad move. Two of check. And next move rook fd1 and just white just smashing here. Gaming on table. Are you keen on chess variants? What's your favorite variant? You mean what is my favorite opening or what do you mean? I don't have like favorite opening, but I like to play, for example, b3 first move and d4 knight c3 bishop f4. There's and a lot of creative games and interesting chess is arise after Z lines. But unfortunately, computer digging too deep even in Z lines. For example, in 7, 8 years ago, I had very nice results because it was fresh and new for players, and I used this moment. But then they started to be more seriously about that and prepared. What is my type of chess? Chess module. Crazy has okay. So 960 is very interesting. But recently, by the way, on Chess.com, I found some beta version of very interesting game. Fog of the War it was very interesting. I even had it on stream. I recommend you to really recommend to see that game. I don't know in Lichess maybe also they have it. I didn't. I actually did not search, but if they have, it will be also fun. Fog of the War, very interesting game. I hope it became main one of the main game. From they will change the status of beta. Yeah, Backhouse also very interesting. Yeah, a lot of, but it's more like for fun, not like serious. So Queen C3 was played by a very strong player. Yeah. Uh, Polar Beer, welcome, man. Thank you for your donation. Appreciate, man. You're very kind. I don't see you still on chat. Ah, okay. Happy Friday. Is it some special Friday or Happy Friday? Nice. Probably Friday. You like Friday very much. So Queen E2 played by White. Very strong move here. Obviously, we're avoiding to trade the queens when we are material down. Gaming on treble PC. Backhouse strategies should be told to partner before the match because should be told before the match because if you don't like, I did not. What? Like I did not. Then you are going to get checkmate pretty soon. Ah, okay. Yeah, it's definitely true. Because it's a game where you need a lot of practice. Like in ping pong, without practice you're fucked up. Now queen a1 leads to lost after bishop g5 and you have to give the queen here. Same time, white is threatening to play bishop b2 and bishop g7. So once again, at this game and this version, I never checked on computer, so I just give you uh, these games and annotations, light annotations, just show you general ideas. For example, after if f6, the white player after the game shows very beautiful variation here. So it was based on this idea, bishop b2, attacking the queen, and in case of queen d2, looks like black is insisting to exchange the queen, and queen cannot go because queen b2 here, or maybe queen g4 still possible, but king f7 leads to unclear position, but bishop a3, very strong move here. This was his idea. Now queen d2 is a threat, and in case of queen c3 attacking the bishop, queen g4 attacking the bishop and also queen g7. White is winning here. The Whistler, do you think there is an equivalent opening to b3 for black to play creative games without much theory? Oof, with black it's much harder situation because first of all you are tempo behind, yes, and white quickly can take center. For example, I will go back to compare, yes, after b3. For example, if you play e5, bishop b2, knight c6, e3, let's say, yes, and after d5, knight bishop b5, bishop d6. There is this f4, very unpleasant opening for black. And now, if you flip the board and imagine your opponent play like e4, b6, d4, bishop b7, yeah. And after knight c3, e6, there's a huge difference because white has tempo up. They can play bishop d3 and even play a3 here. Modest move and not allow bishop b4. It is completely different situation here. So white will have always advantage in the central. Uh, Budapest Gambit, I will recommend you for blitz games. For example, after d4, knight f6, c4, e5, very sharp line leads to very unclear positions, very lot of tactics, especially in the main line when there is a a5, rook a6, rook h6 ideas. Yeah, but if white will play knight f3, then you're fucked up, of course. I mean, not in the game, but with the idea to play Budapest. So probably if you want sharp dynamical play, you have to go to modern Benoni, like c4, c5, d5, e6, and exchange ed, d6, g6, bishop d7, this line. But it requires a lot of theory knowledge because sometimes you can be crushed in the opening. So black is always very hard. G6, yeah, also. Okay, with black, when you don't fight for center, you usually get very passive and bad positions normally. E6, B6 systems, yeah, but I mean, for well-prepared opponent, it leads to advantage for white anyway. So I mean that with black, you have to play normally principal lines to equalize. And with white, you have tempo and you have choice. You have more choice. But such a moves like B3, we are not challenging the advantage in the opening. Forget about advantage in the opening. We are challenging to avoid the theoretical 40 moves lines and want to create something in chess, just to play game. It just leads to equal positions. Of course, it's black is carefully, and then who is just smarter and better player. So let's back to this game. So let's go from the Karokan. Doesn't matter. would lead to this position anyway. E6, knight f6, let's say knight f6, knight c3, bishop b4, cd, knight d5, queen c2, knight 6, bishop d3, go knight d4. Here, check, king d7, queen c3, queen e2. This was the position. So we see that uh, f6 would lead to beautiful variations. That's why black played bishop d6. I don't know they calculated it or not, but by feeling they play bishop d6 with either queen e5, exchange the queen with attacking here. Nimzo defense is very classical, of course, very solid. Do you choose the hyper-modern G6 system as black or Nimzo Indian against d4? I played different things. I played in my career. I played King's Indian. I played sometimes even Greenfield. I played Nimzo Indian. Benoni I played a lot. And recently I started to play Slav defense. D4, D5, C6. Very solid defense. So you need to, in nowadays, you cannot play with only one opening. You need to mix, change the openings all the time. Because computer allows your opponent to prepare very quickly and very well against only if you play one line. You need to vary. If you see in top levels, they always vary. Even Vashila Grau, he was on d4 almost 100% games he was playing before, like only Grunfeld system, and now he also started Slav defense. So for opponent are really very hard because to refute Grunfeld with white is a really hard task, and also Slavian defense now. So he became more unpredictable. Some people say you can play King's Indian as black against a lot of white choices. King's Indian absolutely normal opening. So in top level, many players playing. So feel free to play it. Bishop b2 played by white, attacking queen and also aiming g7 square. Queen a5 played by black. In case of queen b4 would be rook b1, very unpleasant move. Protecting here and attacking bishop f6 idea here. In case of queen c5, of course, rook c1 with tempos. That's why he played queen a5 to avoid any tempos by rook. The point that queen side of blacks is still freezed here, and white has free files here, open files for operate with rooks, and black cannot make the same. For example, now there is a direct threat. If black plays something like random move like h6, then would be the rook d6, king d6, then check on e5, and check on c5, and there is a mate in 2 here. Take on d7. This is another threat in this position. And that's why black plays rook d8, protecting the bishop. But now, all suddenly, these pawns became more weak once rook leave, and white immediately uses this moment. Queen h5, attacking not only here but also queen g5 check. Not allowed moves like king f8 because there will be queen h7 or queen g5. F6 played by black. They are hurry to close this diagonal for this extremely strong bishop on b2. The problem was that in case of h6, with the idea after rook d6 to take somewhere here, would be very unpleasant move queen g4 here. And then black is in serious troubles. Yeah, this coming, this coming. Yes, that's why they played f6 here, give this pawn. So now white only minus one pawn. Can you imagine for only one pawn they have such a strong attack here? And king f7 only move to protect this pawn, and bishop e2 strong move. This bishop comes on here, creating very unpleasant. Um, Maybe because there is a single clear plan with king, so white can prepare against it. Yeah, no, but actually, yeah, it's more preferable for white from human point of view. But on top level engine championships, it's not refuted, so it means it's very playable. If super computer cannot win by white or gets clear advantage, it means that it's absolutely playable. For example, Grishuk nowadays played on high level, so Rajabo many years playing, Nakamura was playing. So queen g5 only moved by black, protecting this square. After check, they want to go king e7. And bishop c1, strong move by white here. Very unpleasant move, guys. Because queen cannot go on g6, bishop h5. Also, we not allow queen h6. No way to go for this poor queen. And in case of queen e5, there will be check, and then this pawn will fall. So black are desperate. They took here. They give check, but after e4, they simply resign. This attacked and this attacked. So, and can you imagine in this game, two very strong players was playing. It was played in Olympiad in Varna 1962 between Miguel Najdorf versus Lajos Portiš. Crazy. So Lajos Portiš get crushed like this. Yeah, maybe recently Nakamura don't play Kings India, but I remember some cool games of him. I think he beat even Kramnik maybe once or twice. So it shows that Kings India is very dangerous. Okay, let's see some interesting ideas also in another openings. For example, you are white and you play e4 and your opponent plays e5. Okay, let me refresh this board actually, like this. Too much variations here. Sometimes it jumps and I'm losing my current position. So e5, bishop c4. This calls bishop's opening. Knight f6. The idea of behind this move to instantly play d3 or d4. Depends. Knight f6. In this game, d4 is played. d3 is the main move. Yeah. d4. ed played by black and knight f3. So knight c6 leads to positions of defense of two knights defense here. But knight e4 played by opponent. Queen d4. White returns one pawn, also attacking the knight. We see that black is loses much tempo. Knight f6. So one, two, three pieces versus one developed. So that can be recommended for black. And what happens here? Bishop g5 was played by white, pinning this knight. Bishop e7, knight c3, castle and castle. It's this kind of position actually reminds me of Scandinavian defense with reverse color. Usually black then take here, go here, then they go to long castle, bishop g4. We see that it's like Scandinavian, but with like I don't know, like 100 times up for white. So this position are really very risky for black. This queen can go to h4 or to d3, h4. A lot of ideas here. So they are ready to attack the king side. So knight c6 played by black, queen h4. Typical Scandinavian ideas with reverse color. d6 played by black. They are very behind of development and bishop d3. So first direct threat, bishop f6 and giving mate. It shows that black should not hurry with castle. Also, instead of knight c6, maybe c6 and d5 was better. It looked like they played natural, useful moves, but in the real, it was bad decision. Now, in case of g6, rook h e1 simple move leads to disaster for black because rook e7 is a threat and then bishop f6. We see um, mm, uh, black is very very bad situation here. So they decide to play h6, a desperate move, and bishop h6, decisive blow. Now they took gh because after knight g4, there would be bishop g5 with idea mate here. Uh, in case of knight e5 here, with idea to after knight e5 play knight g4 and then we don't have bishop g5 idea. White simply plays bishop g5 here, and after knight d3, rook d3, it's very doubtful, very suspicious that dubious that we have to say that black can't defend this position. Pawns are equal, so just free attack. Maybe knight can go here. Rook g3 is coming, so we see that it's very very bad position. But maybe it was a best decision for black actually to continue this game. In the game they just took queen h6. This knight is pinned, he cannot move because of mate. Knight g5 is a threat, so they played knight b4, try to eliminate this strong bishop. For example, knight e5 was possible here with the same idea, and white would not go after the queen here because then black has some chances. Also, bishop g5, by the way, here's a check actually. Yeah. Instead instead of bishop h7 here, they could simply play rook h1, and position is winning. The idea to take rook e5, give mate, or another idea rook e3, rook g3, and there is nothing to do here. That's why knight b4 was played by black. Now white has two choices: what they did in game, knight g5, or also they could give check, king h8, give check, and take this knight. And we see that they are pawn up and still attack. But probably they decided to go for more, knight g5. Obviously, knight d3 is the only move to avoid this check. Rook d3. Now this rook comes with decisive threats here. And after bishop f5, what else? Black tries to control this square and go knight g4 now. But unfortunately, they are one tempo behind, so rook g3 with a terrible idea of discover check and give mate. And knight g4 not possible because rook g4 eliminate knight and same time support knight, and in case of bishop g4 there is a mate in one. And after rook g3 black played bishop g6, but unfortunately for them in this position knight e6 is decisive uh, move and they resign because queen g7 is a threat, also knight e d8 is a threat, and after f not rook g6 would be a huge blunder. Yeah, king will escape here, the queen g6 will be moved and mate here. Yeah, this is how white can crush in such a positions. Yeah, it's nice to see the different openings, I guess. Yeah, another typical mistakes by, let's see, by black now. Let's flip the board. So here, black player is a strong player, grandmaster, and white player is not. I don't know this guy. So d4 played by white, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, d5. This is Nimzowitsch system. C5 can be transposed to Benoni, or also white can play e3 or knight f3. This is another lines. Bishop b4. Yeah, by the way, when you play Benoni, yes, when you want to play directly the classical Benoni, sometimes white avoids to play d5 and they play knight f3. You have to be ready with black to go sometimes for principal lines like e5, knight b5, d5, this old line, bishop c5. I don't know what is nowadays theory says, but this was the classical line for black, classical sacrifice when I was kid. I remember this from my kid time. So in this game, we get another line that um, c3, d5. By black is playing Zaitsev, very strong player. Knight f3, c5 here. The Tarev system again, and cd and cd played by black. There is such a tricky move. This is black's trying uh, to fight for initiative here. This gambit calls Shari Genning gambit. Queen a4 was played. Obviously, ed was the main line, and previous game we see knight d5, two like game between Najdorf and Portish. cd queen a4 played by white here. There is also line queen d4 here, and after knight d5, for example, can be e4 played here with idea knight 6, bishop b5, and it leads to complex positions. But more sharper is to play ed here. And after e4, this is like a Chigorin system reversed. Knight c6, bishop b5 here. And in case of knight e4, castle. Yeah, this position, black has to be very careful because it's very huge initiative for pawn. But in this game, white decided to give check first. They want to provoke at bishop d7, queen d4, and then this queen loses control over d file. So knight b7 played by Zaitsev in this position. So they sacrifice the pawn, but they will have good development, better development. So queen d4. Thank you for following, guys. So bishop c5 by Zaitsev. This was his idea. So he played knight d7 to support this bishop, which goes to c5 with tempo. Now queen d3 was very interesting, but opponent played queen d1, and Zaitsev takes ed, inviting opponent to take on d5, and knight d5 is actually a mistake, serious mistake. They should decline this sacrifice and simply play e3 and play against isolated castles, and b3 idea, bishop b2, and so on. But knight d5, and we'll see how black is punished this move. So he took on d5, queen d5. So if white will manage, for example, after castle, play e3, bishop b2, and castle, they are okay with pawn up. But unfortunately, very unpleasant check on a5 here. And they have to lose the castle after king d1 because they cannot play bishop d2, duel of bishop f2 check, and we take this queen. And same on knight d2, and after queen d2, we win the queen like that. So they simply blunder this check, I'm sure. So king d1 only move, and knight f6 by Zaitsev attacking the queen, also maybe aiming this square. So queen e5 is forced to avoid queen knight g4, bishop e6. Also rook will come now with tempo. And now his opponent played e3, which is bad move. Bishop d2 was more or less best continuation. Wizard after long cast play rook c1 with pin. But rook d8 still was good move. Or even queen b6 attacking here and aiming here. And in case of e3, simply castle. We see that for only pawn, black, black king better developed, ready for attack, and king stuck in the center. So position is all probably lost already. But white plays e3. Probably they've been very confused and disappointed of the opening and did not play well. Knight g4, attacking pawn, attacking the queen. And now he played queen g7. In case of queen g3, uh, long castle was decides the game because after bishop d2, black would take rook d2, knight d2, and rook d8, and this queen cannot help uh, help this king, and black simply crushes. So queen g7 was played by opponent, and long castle. Not only check, but also connect the rooks. And after bishop d2, he played bishop b4 here, attacking this bishop. Rook c1 was played, only move, king b8, rook c2. This was his hope to protect the bishop. Now black could actually take the rook, but they decide rook g8. And white simply resign. So it was played only 17 moves, and 6 moves was played by queen. This is a bad sign. No, white simply resigned because of this. Black would take here or take, or even maybe play bishop f5. This was the right idea, I believe. Attack the queen, and when it takes, we take this checks and we take on d2, and this decides the game. Okay, let's see game. One of the game of Alekhin. Alexander Alekhin is one of my favorite player. So he played in Odessa 1918. Ukraine, against Kaufman. So d4, d5, knight f3 by Alokhin. By the way, I saw he played some games in this system. This in this system he had some games, but after bishop a5 instead of f3, he was going like knight f3, knight e3, knight e5, modest play, and usually get nothing. He had some games. So d5, knight f3, c5 played by Kaufman, bishop f4 by Alokhin. So he wants to play e3, and after cd, he take bishop b8 here. The idea is to use the active pieces in the center. So rook b8 was taken. Was very interesting to give check here on a5. And in case of c3, take rook b8, and after queen d4, knight f6. And this pawn is protected by queen. But black takes immediately, and Alokhin take on d4, attacking this pawn. Of course, such a game is recommended to play maybe only in blitz by white. So b6, bad move by Kaufman. Its weakness d square. Maybe if you want to defend, maybe even a6 was better, or just simply go back here. And then e6, knight f6, and develop. Let's see what happens after b6. Alohi played e4, but maybe even stronger was to play knight e5 here. So aiming directly on fork. Bishop b7 is a huge blunder after queen f4 is simply mate. You cannot defend these squares. And in case of queen d6 here, then e4 with either bishop b5 and attacking here. That would be very dangerous position, but Alohi played e4 immediately. Also kind of Chigorin ideas, yes, with black when the queen in the center and very aggressive. And now d was played by opponent, and game is over in eight moves. Black Alohin takes on d8, and after 95, black decides not to continue this game. Can you imagine? This was number 8 of move, and black resigned. This is attacked. This is also coming. So what to do? After 96, white will take here. After king e8, there's bishop b5. Still, it was possible, of course, to continue after 96, 96, and give this exchange, but probably his opponent was so disappointed that he decided to resign. But still was playable with big advantage of white, but something like that maybe would be happen with rook d8 idea or bishop e2. But it's still playable, yes? Still playable. I don't know why he resigned. And let's see another game of Alokhin. Now he's black against a very strong player, Bernstein. It was played in Paris 1933. Uh, e4 played by Bernstein, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6 here, bishop b4. This is a Spanish variation, or it calls Ray Lopez, I guess, by English. d6, not the main line. This is a Stainis system. Knight f6 is the main move. So d4, uh, b5 played by Alokhin, bishop b3, and take knight d4. Knight d4 and ed. Now queen d4 is a huge blunder because after c5, white is loses bishop. Wherever this queen goes, will be c4. In case of bishop f7, it's just a blunder because black is not losing this rook, duel of bishop e6 and protect it. So obviously Bernstein did not take. He played bishop d5, attacking this rook, rook b8, and he played bishop c6 check. This was his idea. Immediately, because after queen d4, maybe he did not want to allow this move. And again, after bishop 3, otherwise he have to give this bishop. And actually, c6 is a threat. For example, this c6, and we win the bishop. That's why he decided to go bishop c6 first, forcing bishop d7, and take d4. Knight f6, knight c3 played by Bernstein, bishop e7, castle, castle, and bishop g5. Serious inaccuracy. Not serious, but it leads to serious mistake. So probably white should play something like rook e1 here, or rook d1, whatever, I mean, any move. But he played bishop g5, and after b4, they made a huge blunder. For example, knight e2 was not so good because of queen b5 attacking knight and attacking this bishop here. Um, and in case of queen e3, there would be knight g4 attacking here and here. Uh, Dad Fernandez, thank you for following. And knight d1 was more or less normal, optimal continuation. And also e5 was possible here. But Bernstein automatically played knight d5. He had idea to after knight d5 simplificate position. Yes, after bishop g5, queen g5, and white is okay. But he simply blundered rook b5, attacking the queen, and this bishop is losing here. And he simply resigned. Let me find some interesting game. By the way, I'm not getting any of your messages again. Let me restart it. I don't know why it happens like that. But by the time it gets stuck, give me a few seconds, guys, to restart it. Let me try to update this thing. Probably it creates problems because I did not update it. Don't write anything, guys. I still did not see it. I will give you a sign when I will be ready to get messages. It's downloading something. Still 11%, 12. It's quite slow. Quite slow. Okay. I'm searching for some interesting variations. Yes. Okay. For example, I can show you now Budapest variation and how you not to have play with black. So imagine you're white and your opponent plays d4, knight f6, c4, and e5. You play d, principal line, knight g4, the main line. There is knight e4, but in one of our stream, Grandmaster Rustemov said that he was analyzing a3 move here, not allow bishop b4, and he did not find the equality for black. So knight g4 is the main line. Bishop f4. Another move is knight f3, but knight f3 allows this bishop c5 attacking here, and then bishop is closed. It's his main line, by the way. But bishop f4, there is also such a line. And after bishop f4, g5 is very interesting line here. I was playing it. Bishop g3 and bishop g7 with very sharp line. But in this game, knight c6 was played. Knight f3, no more g5 allowed. And bishop c5 was played. Another line is bishop b5 here. But bishop c5 is also possible. e3. And now black played queen e7 here. Try to instantly take back this pawn. Usually when you play this Budapest, you first have to develop pieces and then try to take back this material. So we'll see how white punish this. They play a3, aiming for b4 move. So a5 is automatical move on it. And knight c3. So they also secure this square. There's no more pin, and this knight comes here. And we see that queen e7 was bad move in the opening, and black carelessly took on e5. And all suddenly after 95, they are in serious troubles here because knight d5 coming. So white uses that queen is busy now. He need to protect both c7 and e5 knight. So he cannot go on e6 because of this. Cannot go on queen d8 because of this. So queen d6 very ugly move. Got under this pin, but after queen h5 they simply resign. So this is like in 11 moves black can lost. Here is a pin, knight cannot go, and f6 not possible because of here. This is how white instantly crushed. Yeah, very common trap by white I will show in next game in Reti system. Um, Still downloading 88%. What the hell? What is downloading so long? Okay, so knight f3 was played by white. Quite good players was playing in this game. Knight f6, g3. This is Reti system, very popular. e6 was played by black, castle, and bishop e7, d3. Recently in Pro Chess League final matches, I remember Tigran Petrosyan beat Wenceslau and Dominguez in this line, and also Fischer loved to play it in use period. Um, it can if we see white is playing King's Indian with reverse color in first hand. It is so the idea is knight d2 and simply e4, right? Similar like in the King's Indian. Tom Ken, bravo guy. So where the hell my chat is gone? It's updated but disappear completely. Let me restart it again. What the hell? Ah, not this. What I'm clicking. What I'm clicking. I'm sorry guys, I just don't see any messages. I hope now it will start it. So in this position, b6 was played by opponent. And after b6, knight d2 by white. So preparing e4s and e5s and rook e1. After castles, then knight f1, h4, knight h2, knight g4, h5. This standard ideas here. But black is not hurried to make castles, bishop e7, as they think that they're stopping e4 right now. But in really, it's leads to huge blunder. e4 played by white here. And now normal move is castle or even c5, not to hurry with castle. Sometimes black plays c5, e5, knight d7, and knight 6, queen c7 on castle with either g5 attack here. It's also very possible. But in these games, they took on e4, and good player was uh, by black, Ivanov, against Kochiev. Kochiev was with white against Ivanov. It was played in 1976 in Minsk, Belarus. So he took d, and after d, white took on d here, and uh, they set the trap here. So game is only beginning, but black decided to capture this pawn. Normal continuation would be simple castle here, or knight a6 even, without the knight c5. But they capture this pawn, and it leads to disaster. And after knight e5, black simply resigned. Can you imagine? Black resigned on number 9 of move. I remember once I lost in 9 moves with black against Yemelin. It was in Abu Dhabi a long, long time ago, maybe 2004 or something. So what's the problem now? If black will defend the knight like this, it leads to bishop e4, knight e4, take and queen h5 check. After g6, simply knight g6 and then grab the rook. So a5 is loses. By the way, in this position, bishop e4 was also mistake because knight e4, knight e4, queen d1 intermediate not possible because there will be knight e4, f6 check first. So knight e4 and then knight d4 was strong move here. The point that f5 not possible due of knight e6. This attacked. Only move is queen d5, but after queen d5, there is c4 move. Only move what black has is queen b7 because queen e5 leads to bishop f4. And after queen b7, queen g4 leads to complete disaster, or even rook e1. And then f5, then take here. So we see that black is in real trouble here. Guys, I don't see any messages. Can somebody write something? Or maybe you are writing and I'm not seeing? Ah, now I see. Polar beer. I made this mistake with unprotected fianchetto, but opposite side bishops. Dangerous on, yeah, exactly. Alex, hello. Yeah, I think now I see messages finally. So let's back to this diagram. Thank you for following Sepecher73. Brahim, hello. So knight e5 was played here. For example, if they would go back on d6, the point was hello. The point was bishop b7, knight b7, and queen f3. This was idea attacking here and attacking the knight. And Ivanov see this variation after knight e5 was played. Terrible blunder by future grandmaster. More or less, black could still make some resistance after queen d5, but queen f7, king d8, queen g7 leads to very bad position. And in case of knight d2 here, black loses after bishop b7. So both pieces are attacked. At least they grab the rook, but queen d8, king d8, or bishop d8, because king d8 also leads to check. King f1, and next move bishop a8. You cannot trap this bishop. So this miniature of 9 moves was played in first league of qualification to USSR Championship. Incredible. Okay, let's see how in Challengers tournament in Switzerland, the famous. You remember I was showing you a Bronstein book about this tournament, what was playing in 1953. There was game between Sabo versus Reshevsky. We see how Reshevsky gets completely terminated here. So d4, knight f6, c4, e6 was played, knight f3, offering to play Indian system, new Indian, but d5 was played, transferring to the queen's gambit. For example, bishop e7 could be, but Reshevsky played c5, go to Tarj. And after cd, he took knight d5. Sabo played e3. Solid system with either bishop d3, castle. He played knight c6, bishop d3, cd, ed. It's like Caro-Kann system Panov. But in this position, he played knight c3 immediately. So main line is cd or bishop e7 here. So knight c3 is too early. bc, he improves the center. I don't know why Reshevsky played like that. Bishop e7. Queen c2 by Sabo. The very unpleasant intermediate move, not allow castle, yes. And now g6 played Reshevsky. Uh, and probably h6 was more natural to prepare castle here. Because now the black squares around the king side will be very weak. Maybe Reshevsky was afraid that after h6, in some moment after castle, white will change the position of pieces like this, but it's too slow. That's why he played g6 here. And after g6, h4 was played by Sabo. Sabo starts immediate actions until king is in central. So Reshevsky played h5, stopping this h5 Rook b1, useful move. The pressure on this pawn. Rook b8, protecting to play bishop d7. Bishop e4 by Sabo. Now is a threat bishop 6 and rook b8. And Reshevsky protected the knight here. So far, more or less normal play by Reshevsky, but d5. So Sabo started immediately attacking the center. Bishop d5. Now castle is loses because of queen g6. So Reshevsky played bishop e6. Most probably he wanted to play knight e7, kick out this bishop and play castle. Also some bishop e5 ideas. Knight g5 played by Sabo in this position. No, sorry. I mixed it up, guys. I mixed it up. I'm sorry. In this position, castle was played first. I jumped two moves. Queen c7 was played, and now he played d5. It is bishop d5. Yeah, yeah. This was position, and after bishop e6, knight g5, attacking here, using that castle again impossible because of mate. Knight d8. That's why he played queen 7 to open this place uh, for the knight. Bishop g6 instead of castle. Let me see. Maybe it's possible, but not super good because he will play here. Hello, Artur. Hello. 1 second. Maybe I mixed up moves actually completely. No, this was position, right? No. This was position. I understand where I made mistake. After bishop before, not bishop c7. He played queen c7 first. Yes. Sorry, guys. This was move, and now bishop c6. He will just go. Yeah. So castle was played, and now bishop d7. Yeah. This was now bishop g6. He will have this square. d5, ed, bishop d5. Guys, we have Grandmaster Nations from Latvia in our chat, and everybody follow him. He has very interesting things to follow. Yeah, this was the point. Bishop f6 now played by Reshevsky, knight g5, and he played knight d8. Probably he wanted to play bishop, exchange this bishop. But c4 played by Sabo, supporting this important bishop, also opening this diagonal for another. And bishop c6 played by Reshevsky, try to exchange this strong bishop. Knight e4 attacking the bishop, forcing to go to g7, and bishop b2, another temp. And unfortunately for Reshevsky, everything go wrong in this game till the end. Uh, these weak black squares are very weak, and he played castle here. And this allowed immediate win after knight f6 here. And here happened very funny thing. So he played knight f6 check, and all suddenly Reshevsky took on f6 instead of king h8. And the point that Sabo played bishop f6 instead of give mate here to queen g6. Both grandmasters, can you imagine? They completely missed this idea of queen g6 mate. After king f8 there is a mate, after bishop g6 there is a mate. So it was like mutual hypnotism, like black hypnotized white, and Sabo believes. So king h8 was only move, but obviously white position is with big advantage here because this even we can play simply rook d1 and after change even knight d5 or rook d5. But after bishop f6, Sabo take bishop f6, and after bishop d5, cd was played. Still, white's position was remaining winning, but Sabo was very disappointed he missed it, and game was drawn. You can say that this was long time ago. In modern time, it doesn't happen to grandmasters. But I will change your opinion maybe after next game. I will not tell the names. So e4 was played by white, e5, knight f3, knight f6, the Petrov, knight e5. You will not believe your eyes when I will tell you who was playing and how. Knight e4, knight c3. We all know that knight c3 here is a main line. Then dc leads to very sharp positions after bishop e7. White castles on the long side. This goes to short castle, and The Whistler, yes. And Bishop f5 played by Anand here. So it was played in 1988 in Biel, in Switzerland. And Anand just played Bishop f5, bad move. So actually, Anand follows the game between Miles, Tony Miles, the British player, versus Christiansen. It was played in 1987. So it was played 1 year before this. And that game was continued with knight e4, bishop e4, d3 here. And bishop d6, it lead to draw. And that time Anand was a young player, so he decided to go for that again. But opponent played instead of knight e4, queen e2 here, and he simply resigned here, attacking the knight, and the point that after d5 simply d3 and we take here. So in that time was not engines to check it. Engines would show it in 001 second. So simply he resigned because queen e7 to protect leads to knight d5 and game is over. Queen cannot go here because knight 7. After queen d8 or queen d7, again d3. So Zapata won this game in how much? In 6 moves. Crazy. In 6 moves, queen e2 and resign. Yeah, terrible. Yeah, happened such a blind things to anyone, any level. Hmm. Yeah, crazy in 6 moves. So next, let's see the next ideas. So I will change the title and give it the combination. So we know that the idea behind the combinations, it's to get objective benefits. It can be direct mating to king or material advantage or any advantage transfer from position. For example, to improve the attacking or improve the coordinating of pieces. Or sometimes when you have bad position, you sacrifice and then try to save the game. Uh, for example, with perpetuals, or just to regain material balance, or just to get some counter play in defense. This sometimes we can have with positional continuations or with with combination way. Okay, let's see some games. For example, very good player by White. Philip was played versus Krushkova-Belska. Probably Krushkova-Belska was woman player. So e4. Barakovsky, not Gobava and Jobava. You mixing up something. John Twitch, hello. Very, very well. How are you doing? So e4 was played, e5. So e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5 was played by Philip, d6 played by black, d4, ed, knight d4. This old system, bishop d7, bishop c6 by white, bc, knight c3. So white has better development right here. So knight f6 is another main line, but black played bishop e7 and queen f3 by white here. So the sense of behind this move is to play after knight f6, e5, attacking the knight, and in case of d, there's knight c6 very unpleasant move. So that's why black plays bishop g5. That was the idea. And let's see where it leads. So white played e5 here. So after even castle bishop c1 rook c1, white has better prospects in this position. But they want to decide game with forcing matters after e5. And now black makes mistake after d5 here. They should play bishop c1 here, and after rook c1, knight e7, or even d, knight c6, and queen f6. Try to exchange these queens. But they play d5, and it leads to little combination, and white is winning here. e6 move. So attacking bishop, attacking this pawn, and nothing to do here because after bishop e6 or fe, there will be knight e6, fe, and check. This bishop attacked and king attacked, and they lose the bishop. This is how black lost in 10 moves. Another game played with black is very strong player, Lichternik, with white against Belyavsky in Vacanze 1985. So Belyavsky with black, d4, knight f6, knight f3, b6 was played by Belyavsky, c4, bishop b7, knight c3, e6. So this is like new Indian system. A3, this is a Petrosian system. I played it many times with in middle of 2000s and late 2000s. So white take control on b4 square, not allowed, and the main battle between this and this squares here. So d5 is the main move. The idea is that c5, d5, it's some kind of Benoni, but with this bad bishop here. So d5 is the main move. cd, knight d5 was played by Pedowski. Queen c2 with idea to prepare e4, and after knight c3 take this pawn, and this pawn will be protected. I played many times bishop d2 here, and then queen c2 to avoid this line. c5 played by Belyavsky. dc, I think e4 was main move here, and this line. But opponent played dc and bishop c5 by Belyavsky. Bishop g5 played by Lichternik, attacking the queen. This was his idea. Queen c8. So aiming after knight d5, take on f2 sometimes, and this queen is hangs. So rook c1 played by Lichternik. h6 attacking the bishop. This is also theory. And knight e4 played by white. More simple ways would just simply play bishop h4, then e3. And now hg leads to material losses after check here. The double attack, bishop d6, we take on c8, then we take again, and take the rook on h8. Hello, Yumito. You can ask, but not during the when I analyze this game. So, what happened after this? Thank you for follow. I lost the position. Yeah. Knight d7 was played after knight e4 by Belyavsky, connecting rook to queen. So knight d6 is not possible. So he played knight c5. Chess lingo. Hello, man. Welcome. God knows who I am. Some human chess player. So knight c5 was played by. We see that Lichternik wanted. He wanted to take on c5 to capture this strong bishop, but he same time loses too much time, so too much tempos on this. So knight c5 played by Beliavsky. This bishop still attacked. Uh, e4 played by Lichternik, but they are not ready to open up the center here and position and game because they are not developed. b4 probably was the best continuation after Ag, uh, because knight d7 is a mistake. Queen b2 attack the queen and also attack this pawn. So Beliavsky definitely would take here, and after bc, uh, uh, there would more or less normal play for white, but still black is better here. Or simply go to bishop d2. So any move of these three choices, b4, e4, bishop d2, bishop d2 or b4 is better than what happened in game. Thank you very much for following. I don't know, chess lingo, if you're making fun or not, but you can see that it's written GM Jobava. So my surname is Jobava and I'm Grandmaster of chess. Most probably you're making some fun, I don't know. So AG was played by black, ED should be played. And Beliavsky took ED here because bishop d5 leads to b4 and this is unprotected. Uh, what the hell, why I cannot make the moves? Yeah. In case of g4, 95 castle, black also would have advantage here. So it was very interesting g4. Yes, I'm from Georgia. Yeah. But Beliavsky played ed here. He eliminated this strong pawn. And knight g5 played by Lichternik. We see that something go wrong for white, right? The open position also opens this h file. Now castle is leads to mate in one. Of course, Beliavsky is not following this. And he plays a very strong move, king f8. And his idea was after b4, for example, play queen g4, very strong move, attacking the knight. And in case of bc, he wanted to give check here. And after bishop e2, not take queen g5, but bishop a6, very strong move. And not possible to defend here. Also, this is false. So, see you, Ruches. Bon appetit. Even you will play Paul in Jersey. Yeah, Castle was very strong decision. But opponent played bishop e2 after that. And d4 by Beliavsky. Open this diagonal. And Castle played by Lichternik. The point that uh, this does not works due of d3. We see that bishop d3 it's false fails due of unprotected position of rook. And after d3 queen d2 there would be queen f5 very unpleasant move, or even queen c6. That's why Lichternik plays castle here, and looks like black white is okay. Yeah, they finally develop pieces, but exactly this moment there is a final combination blow by black, d3 here, and this pawn sacrifice distracts this bishop from the king side, and after bishop d3, also hopeless, of course, queen d3, knight d3, rook c8, rook c8, there's exchange. So bishop d3 he take, and queen g4. So this bishop not controls this square. Queen attacks the knight, and queen attacks here together with bishop. That was the idea here. Bang, bang to California. Thank you for cheer, man. Very nice from you. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for your compliments. Say greetings to your friend too. Thank you, man. Such words and your support really motivate me to continue with more and more energy. Uh, I'm really enjoying this process to communicate with you, show you some good games. I hope it's mutual. And after queen g4, we see that white's position is hopeless. They losing this knight because f4 to protect knight and protect the pawn fails because of knight d3. After queen d3, there is a mate in one. And Lichtenberg played probably in desperation knight e4 here, and simply bishop e4. In case of f3, there is a bishop d3, attacks the queen, bishop e4. Um, Beliavsky simply to queen e4, and white resigned because they are without peace. We can see now how two Georgian famous female players, Chiburdanidze versus Gaprindashvili Nona, played in Belgrade in 1996, and Chiburdanidze won it. So you meet the Whistler. You seem as a bit. Thank you very much, the Whistler. You meet what question was you? Let me read. D4, knight f6, knight c3. Okay, let me put it. D4, knight f6, knight c3, d5, bishop f4, a6. Yes, there is such a move. It's very popular nowadays. e3 and c5. Yes. In this position, you can play slowly, or knight f3, then a3, h3, bishop d3, or go for combination line like dc. But I did not analyze this very much. But this I know that it's very tricky line by black. So they somehow regain this pawn. I forget now how. Maybe knight c6 here with idea something like this probably, and maybe take, and this is the idea maybe. But I prefer such a line with white anyway. Okay, let's go for game. So Chiburdanidze versus Gabdashvili. Maya played d4, g6, c4, bishop g7, g3, d6. Two legendary female champions, both from Georgia. Knight d7. Because of female players, we have such a great tradition of chess in Georgia. So knight d7, uh, knight c3, e5 played by Gamnashvili. So idea to wait with knight f6 because sometimes it goes to e7 and this pawn can lead forward. Bishop g2, very solid line by Chibudanidze, and knight e7 looks normal move, but knight h6 played by Gamnashvili. Also knight f6 could be possible, and we transfer to the main line of King's Indian fianchetto system. But Kapnashvili was probably in very aggressive mood in this day, so she played knight h6 here. So knight h6 was played, and d by Chiburdanidze. So she thinks that this is inaccuracy, and her forces are ready for immediate actions in the center and the king side. So she eliminated this pawn, and after d, she all suddenly starts to play h4. Using that this pawn is blocked, it cannot meet with h6 or h5, what usually happens after such a move. So first of all, black also not controlling this important square because c6 is leads to weakening of this square, and sometimes knight can jump here or even queen. Now black had idea after they play knight h6 to play something like f6 then knight f7 and then castle c6, but it's not possible right here. After f6, knight g5 would be very strong move here. And how to play with black in this position? For example, knight e6 is a threat, and there is hard to advise anything for black here. For example, queen e7, there is knight d5. In case of fg, there is a bishop g5 attacking the queen. That was the idea of h4. After bishop f6, we take the knight, and in case of knight f6 here, um, there would be queen d8 check, king d8, and knight d5, and black are in serious troubles here. And next move is long castle here. For example, knight g8, long castle. With discover check threat. In case of king e8, there is a fork. We take the rook. In case of bishop d7, can be a possible line like this: take, take, and take, and bishop h3. So we win this bishop. We will have pawn up. On rook f8, probably would be same problem after long castle. We are not in hurry. This is a threat. And after bishop d7, after knight f6, you cannot take with bishop because bishop h6. After rook f6, bishop h3, even worse. So knight f5 there is a e4, then I take the rook, and then take the piece. So it's completely lost position. That's why Kapilashvili didn't play uh, f6, but she played castle, which leads even worse disaster. h5, logical continuation. Threat is to take here and then double attack on this poor knight on h6. So Nona played knight g4 here, but after ag, she played ag. Obviously, fg leads to open this diagonal, which leads to catastrophe. Something like queen d5 and knight g5 attacking everything. So she played only move ag here. And in this position, Maya played bishop g5, very strong move. And how to play again for black? They have moves like a knight, like queen e8, f6, or bishop f6. Nona played bishop f6 because queen e8 leads to problems after knight d5. There is a mating idea, or you have to give queen, or also knight c7. So this just lost. F6 uh, is dangerous because of check. Only move rook f7. Bishop h3, attacking the knight and using that this knight is pinned, cannot go b6 to support because queen will lost in one move. And in case of c6 here, simply go queen d2. And after queen e8, try to tactically hold this knight. White takes on g4, and knight b6 looks strong, attacking the queen, attacking the bishop, but it leads to bad position after queen e4 here. f5, try to fork the bishop, but bishop f4, 5 strong move, and next move queen h4, and white dominates. That's why she played bishop f6. Yeah, in the end, knight gf6 leads to problems after queen d2, simple move, with either long castle, and also threat is bishop h6, eliminate bishop, and then go to mate. That's why probably Kamdashu did not find better moves than bishop f6 here. Yes, also knight df6 leads to problem after queen d8. Rook d8 and knight d2, strong move. And there's a threat f3 and catching the knight. Knight f2 not possible because king f2 and bishop protects this knight. And all suddenly on the move 13 would be knight d2, black is in serious troubles. But Nona played bishop f6 and it leads to another problems, knight e4. This bishop is always very good for defense. Once you exchange it, your complex of black squares become very weak. So bishop g5 is forced. We cannot give this bishop for knight. Uh, Knight f g5. We see how a huge pressure Maya makes on the king side. And now uh, Nona played decisive mistake. She played knight df6, what is huge mistake. Queen e7 was normal continuation, but after queen d2, white will continue a strong initiative here. Yes, on the king side, sorry, uh, which was weakened after exchange of the bishops. But she played knight df6, and she simply blundered beautiful check on h8, and this check distracts the king. The easy move king g7 loses after queen d8 and rook d8 here, and it's just rook. So king h8 she took, but knight f7 check fork, and after rook f7 queen d8, it's obvious that white is winning. So it was followed by two more moves, long castle, and game is over here. This is as there is no any compensation for the queen. So let's see now another game between very strong players, and uh, black lost in 15 moves. Can you imagine? It was played in 1994. I will tell you names after the game. So e4 played by white, e6, Yeah, 50 moves and black resign in this game. So d3, d5, knight d2. Yeah, we know that the main lines of French is d4 and d5, but d3 is also very tricky idea. d4, knight d2 played by white, knight f6, knight f3. The idea was to play g3, bishop g2, but black played b6 to meet that idea, and they point that after g3, sometimes uh, black can play like bishop e7, and after bishop g2, take and play even bishop a6. So that's why white in this position plays c3 here, and after c5, g3. So against the French defense, white is playing King's Indian with reverse color. Very interesting. I also played this many times with white in Blitz, and not only Blitz. And bishop a6 played by black. Yeah. c4 played by white. Interesting reaction. dc, sorry, dc, and bishop b7. Black doing logical moves. Bishop g2 by white. And queen c7 by black. As the point that knight e4 was again unpleasant doing of knight e5. And in case of knight d6 here, there would be bishop b7, knight b7, and not queen f3. What we've seen is a similar idea in previous games because of queen c7 protects both knight and pawn. But unfortunately for black, there is a knight f7 immediately move, king f7, and queen f3 with queen b7 with clear position advantage for white. Or in this position, knight c3 with idea tactically attack knight, queen and bishop. There is a queen h5 very strong move attacking the pawn. And in case of g6, queen goes to h3. Look at this hiding idea, protects the bishop, and both pieces are attacked. And in case of queen c7 here, to counterattack the knight and protect the bishop, there is a f4 strong move, protecting the knight. And only move knight a4 leads to very strong initiative of white after knight e4. Idea knight f6, same time b3 to catch this knight. That's why black did not take on e4, especially with such a player who was on white side. I will tell you after the game who was played. So they played in this position after bishop g2, queen c7, supporting the bishop, and now they want to take on e4. e5 played logically by white, attacking the knight, knight g4, and castle. Knight c6 played by black. The point that knight e5 was losing. Duel of knight e5. Now queen e5 lost because bishop e7. First black has to take, king g2, queen e5, but cold shower, queen f3, and black is loses the whole rook here. No defense. That's why opponent played knight c6, and he thinks that this pawn is loses, but after that move, white played knight e4. Yes, and rook d8 played by black. Again, white offers this Danai's gift, but the point that in case of knight e5, there would be knight e5, and now two choice. Knight e5 leads to very strong pressure after bishop e4. It's a very unpleasant pin with huge initiative for white. Also, queen e4 is a threat or taken, then queen e4 or rook e1 and knight g5. So, and in case of queen e5, there would be queen a4 strong move, pinning this knight and aiming bishop a4. Uh, Also, bishop a4 was very interesting. Queen d4 and now queen a4. For example, rook d1 is a threat with catching the queen. In case of queen d7, with either play knight d4, there would be anyway rook d1, knight d4, and queen d7. Now, king d7, knight c5 with big advantage of white. They take b7, two pair of bishops, and b4 will break this center and very good position. That's why strong player by black played rook d8 here, queen a4. Very unpleasant pin here. The idea to play bishop a4 and then this will be untouchable. So yeah, black sorry played queen d7 to avoid this pin, and now they want to take finally. Again, knight gf5 was very bad because knight e5, queen e5, bishop f4, the same idea, and queen b2, rook b1. So this queen has to go d4 because queen e2 loses immediately after knight c3. Attacking, and this is unprotectable here. So queen d4 was only move, but after queen d4, there was rook bd1. Why not rook fd1? Yeah, rook fd1 simply just catch the queen, right? So this was just simply bad. That's why queen d7 was played. And bishop g5, strong move by white, attacking this rook. Bishop e7 leads to exchange, and this square will be in possession of white. And now black made decisive mistake, knight ce5. The safest move was knight d4 here, which leads, and white has to retreat or exchange the queens, and black more or less okay here. But knight c5 was played, and black simply blunder rook ad1, and they resign here. So after 15 moves, black resign. After queen a4, there is a simply mate on d8. Terrible blunder. And it was played between Shirov, Alexei Shirov is white, against Yevgeny Barev, two very strong grandmasters. How Barev lost with black. Let me find something interesting. We see how strong grandmasters are losing like this way. Okay. So next game was played between Petrosyan versus Grigoriev in 1945. Petrosyan, we know that he was born in Tbilisi, so he was half Georgian. So e4, c5, knight f3, and again Rubinstein system, knight f6, e5, knight d5, knight c3, and e6 the main move. dc. We saw already one game like this. And now Grigori played the logical move from first side, b6, with the idea to put bishop here. It was played by Nimzovich against Mitchell in 1925, so exactly 20 years before this. And his partner was played bishop d3 here, and after bishop b7, e6, black get normal game. But b6 actually it's a mistake. And all suddenly Petrosyan here played e6, very strong move. So this combination to free this square for the knight. The point is that after f3, there would be knight e5 with the terrible mistakes, queen f3 or queen f5, and black cannot defend. In case of f6, there would be anyway knight e5 strong move. For example, if you take f3, there is a check on h5, g6, queen e5, attacking the rook. After rook g8, there was a beautiful move, queen d5, attacking rook. Knight c6, then we take et, and we lost this rook here. Yeah, this was oh, Patsel Rush. Yeah. So D was played by Grigoriev. Queen D8 by Petrosyan. King D8. Knight E5. Attacking this very weak pawn. King E8 only move. Bishop B5. Check. And Grigori played bishop d7 here. Give this strong bishop because knight d7 loses duel of bishop 6 attacking the rook. And after rook b8, there is very unpleasant move bishop a4. And black is losing material. Long castle is a threat. Also knight d7 threat with idea to take here. So only move is bishop d7. But knight d7. This bishop becomes a beast which doesn't have vis-a-vis. And this bishop is just, like feels very, very sad here. And bishop a4 played by Petrosyan with idea long castle. And black is loses material with any continuation. And the funny was that this all this what happened in this game was already played in 1932. So it means 13 years before this current game between Rellstab versus Schonmann in Hamburg, and a6 was played by black here. Try to kick out the bishop and also have this rook a7. And after bishop 6, rook a7 is loses because bishop b8 and we catch this rook. And it was played rook c8 here, bishop b7, rook d8, and bishop c7. Anyway, catch the rook. And the point that after knight b8, white is not taking this rook because black still can play like king d8, king 7, and they have pawn, right? But rook d1, very strong move. Attacking this rook, forcing to exchange on d1, then king d1, and after knight d7 on the move, there's a bishop 6 with a deadly pin here. And there is no defense against king e2, rook d1, and winning this knight. This is how we punish opponent immediately in the opening. And in this current game, in this position, after bishop a4 was played e5, and after long castle, Grigoriev resigned. Yeah, very poor pieces. And the question if Petrosyan knows this variation or he found out it during the game. This is a question. Nimtsovich did not find e6 idea not during the game, not after he was writing his famous game My System on the Practic. But now we will see the game between Nimtsovich versus Alapin in St. Petersburg 1914, long time ago. So e4 was played, e6, d4, t5, knight c3, knight d2, also very popular line. Knight, like Karpov, for example, it was his favorite weapon. Also, Michael Adams, his favorite weapon. Knight f6, ed. There is another line with bishop g5. Knight, sorry, after e5 and bishop g5 is the main lines, but Nimtsov played ed here. And of course, ed was a good continuation, but Alapin plays knight d5. Knight f3 by Nimtsovich. Now, preferable was to play simply bishop e7 and then castle. But Alapin starts actions in the center, but he's not ready. Uh, and Nimtsovich took on d5. The point that after ed, there was unpleasant check on b5, and simplifications in this line is good for white against isolated pawn. Knight 6 and castle, then we take dc, rook e1, and we have advantage. But Alapin played queen d5 in this position. And Nimtsovich played bishop e3 with a threat dc and winning the pawn. But Lapin took cd, knight d4. We see that this queen a little bit too early in the center. Now he played a6 to avoid this knight b5, very annoying idea. Played a6. Maybe bishop d7 was better, I don't know, to develop the piece. But still, after knight d7, there was knight b5, I guess. And you, in case of take, there's rook d1, and yeah, it's still problems. That's why he played a6 here. But we see the black loses time, and bishop e2, strong move. And now white offers this pawn, but it's very risky to take. Yeah, after queen g2, there would be bishop f3, then queen d2, long castle, and this g file is open for attack. So obviously Alapin declines to take that poison pawn. Ah, no, he actually didn't decline. He should decline. So he take queen g2 here. I would decline definitely, yes. I play bishop e7, then castle, castle, but obviously white has advantage here. Like, for example, we can play even push c4, then a3, b4, and this bishop goes and pressure on the queen's position. But queen g2 looks extremely bad. So bishop f3. Let's see how he was punished. Queen g6 only move, because queen h3 probably it's a little bit out of position. So queen g6 at least to be closer to the king. Queen d2, logical continuation. And now Alapin plays very suspicious move. He should develop somehow, try at least bishop e7 or queen f6, bishop e7. But he plays e5. He wanted to push away this knight from this very dominated position. But uh, Nimzowicz ignores the threat to knight and he mobilizes forces after long castle, another sacrifice, which is in the spirit of position. Yes, white are in lead of development and creating decisive ideas here. For example, knight d7 would lead to bishop d5, unpleasant move. So ed took by Alapin. He accepts bravely. Uh, Thank you for follow. And bishop d4, opening this e file for the uh, attack. And same time rook g1, this will be under attack. Knight c6 played by Alapin. After bishop e7 would be rook h e1, very unpleasant. And after queen d6, try to make castle, queen e3. And here is impossible to defend such position, even for computer, I believe, because bishop g7 is a threat, bishop c5 is a threat. I mean, this is disaster for black. So he played knight c6, but in this position, all suddenly, who guess what happened? Nimzowicz win very beautiful way by force. Black did not. Apricordi. Hello, man. Buongiorno. Did not resign, but Nimzowicz finished this game by mate. How can you mate by force? Yeah, I know that you are not Italian, but your name reminds me like Arpicordi. I say it in Italian way. Yes, go chess go. Exactly. Look at this line, guys. Bishop f6, a double exclamation mark. In case of GA, we simply take and then give mate. So the threat is give mate in two. For example, this doesn't change anything. We check and then we give this beautiful mate here. So Alapin was in shock, I believe. He take here and rook h1 check. In case of bishop e6, there is a mate in one. So Alapin played bishop e7, but check. We cannot take with queen or pawn because this is a mate, there is a pin. Alapin played king f8, but after queen d8, bishop d8, he got mated on e8. This is how Nimzowicz crushed Alapin. Beautiful way. For this kind of games, we love chess. One second, guys. Let me speak with Brazil. All right, let's go, guys. Let me find out some nice game. Yeah, this was very cool game, no? Let me find something interesting, guys. I guess I found interesting game. Yeah, definitely could be interesting. Next game played between uh, Shamkovic versus Ivashin. It was played in 1946. Rider on the Storm. Hello, man. How are you doing? The Doors fun. We are watching some cool games here. E4 was played by Shamkovic. Shamkovic is a very good player. Knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, d6, and c4. This was the idea of Czech Republic, Czech Grandmaster Duras, and the idea to control a d5 square here, of course, and also not allow this b5. So next idea is to play knight c3, d3, and very nice setup. But they don't care about weakening of this square. So bishop g4 here. Barakovsky, can you please look at the game Jobal Badur? Yeah, that was very beautiful game actually. I can show it, yes, if you want. Yes, even Mikhail Alexeyenko, even I guess he analyzed it. He after the game he congratulated me, show me that it was very beautiful game. Yes, he's a nice guy. Okay, I can show you after this game if you want. Bishop g4 was played. Knight c3, logical move. Knight e7 by Ivashin. More often in this position, knight f6 was they developed, then bishop e7, then castle. But Ivashin probably wanted to avoid this double the pawns, but white, of course, did not want to take it. Also, g6 was played. d4 played by white. Uh, this is quite risky continuation with the idea to create attack on the king side, on the king flank. Thank you for following Dishko. Disco or Dishko? uh, d4 was played. Keres versus Reshevsky in 1948, so 2 years later after this game, continued with h3 move here. And after bishop f3, queen f3, knight g6, he played knight d5 with a very nice position for white. So probably bishop f3, it's not good continuation. I would probably play bishop d7 right here. Admit that bishop g4 was wrong move, and then put knight here, and then bishop e7. This looks more logical, more natural than give this bishop. But okay, this position, Shamkovic played d4. He was very probably in very aggressive mode. Uh, ed was taken by Ivashin. Knight d5. This was the idea. Rook b8. For example, after knight g6 was very unpleasant move, queen b3 here. Attacks this weak pawn, and if you defend, then knight d4. And we see that we use this pin. That's why Ivashin here played rook b8, try to play b5. And bishop g5 played by, we see that white uh, bet on this fast attack here. Uh, Queen d3 was also possible without the knight d4. And b5 was played by Ivashin. So cb was played um, by white, ab, and bishop b3. So looking on this square, this is quite unpleasant pin here. F6 now is bad. White can choose how to take with knight is also good and win this rook, or even with bishop because there is a mate after gf. No possible to go here. Simply mistake. Probably the best continuation was simply queen d7 without the take, and there is no pin here. Uh, but black wrongly played knight e5, and he thought that he will play c6 next move and he will be okay. And what happened? What's the blunder here, guys? What do you think? What happened in this position? Why it was a decisive mistake? Go, just go. You are too strong. Be quiet. Let others solve. Go, just go. It's you who had a rating to 2300, I guess, right? Or I maybe mix it up you with another guy. Some FIDE master with 2300. Maybe it's you. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I mean, don't say, of course. We know that you can easily find it. Ah, you are international master. Okay, come on. This question is not for you, of course. Yeah, the term of the legal mat, I mean, legal, there was a name of player. He created this idea. So knight e5 sacrifices the queen. The point that in case of bishop d1, there is a check here and this mate here. This was the idea, guys. And after knight d5 only move because the queen g4 just piece up. So opponent played knight d5. I don't know what he blundered. Maybe he blundered knight f6 check. Queen g4 was followed, and queen is attacked, and f6 was played here. Yes, it's beautiful Prakosi. And now bishop f6 played by Shamkovich, but was winning another all moves like bishop d5, queen e6, knight is a minion moves, but he take bishop f6. And his idea was after queen f6, give mate in one on d7. In case of knight f6, here would be mate in two, beautiful way like that. In case of gf, there would be also mate from f7. So after bishop f6, black simply resign here. Or for example, queen c8, there's a beautiful move, bishop d5, another sacrifice. After this, just mate. This is how he was destroyed. So what you want? You want I show you the game against Oleksienko, Mikhail? Let me find it out. I don't want to make mistake by memory. I guess I remember it, but better I'll find the game. Let me find, guys. Thank you for following, by the way. It was played in Al Ain Emirates Open Tournament in city Al Ain in 2013, so 7 years ago we played. One second. Let me. I want to find the. I want to find the text. Where is this? Where is this game? Where is this game? Okay, one second. Sick. Can anybody find this game? Because I cannot find for some reason. And send me on Lichess and I will some PGN. If you find the PGN game, I played against Oleksienko in 2013 and Jobava versus uh, Oleksienko. Barakovsky, find it and then I will input it in this PGN. I forget how to do it, but probably will remember. I don't know why I cannot find it here. It gives me some stupid YouTube videos. I don't know why. Where is the text? What I'm doing wrong here? I'm sure Barakovsky has it. No, I cannot use it from this chat, guys. Don't do it here. Send me on Lichess, Barakovsky, please. Atena Palada, yes, you remember my surname. Hello, Switch and Chuk. Twinkle Toes, hello. Atena Palada, yes. What's up, Twinkle Toes? How are you, man? How was your stream last night? I was completely dead. I go to sleep immediately. Barakovsky, thank you very much. Let me see this. Let me see this. What you sent to me. Yeah, streamed quite long. Why it's so slow? Yeah, nice Twinkle Toes. Keep going. But also don't forget to work on chess, not only on streams. That's another game. Thank you, Barakovsky. Oh my, why are you so slow, guys? One second, another guy sent me. One second. I remember the game, but for any case, I mean. Oh, come on. Okay, I will find out. I will find, guys. Let me find. Let me find myself. Let me find myself one second. Because I don't have just based on this computer. Okay, relax, relax. I will find it. What the hell? I mean, why it not gives me this video? We don't need video. Hmm. What the hell? I mean, why it's not finding? What the hell it wants? Not 2008. We need 2013. Hmm. Game, come on, give it to me. crazy. I mean, I cannot find the game. What the hell? What the hell? Maybe you can try searching and chess tempo. Maybe we go. Yeah, sometimes it finds Jobava, Oleksienko, chess tempo. Hmm. Let me go here. Advanced search. So I was with white and opponent's name Oleksienko Mikhailo, Ukrainian master. Yeah, here is this game. Alain. Here is this game. How to open it? We need PGN. We need to download PGN somehow from here. New game. New game in new window and download PGN. Yeah, here is it. Let's download this PGN and then remind me how to open it here. I forget how I was doing that. So here is the PGN and how I was putting it. I think we was doing the board editor or something, right? Was it the board editor or what was it? Or import the game. Maybe it was import the game. Looks logical. Yeah, and then choose a file here. Aha, okay. Yeah, that's how it was. So download. I guess I found how to do it. Go to downloads and here is it. Import the game guy. I think we did it. Yes, we did it. We have it, guys. So here is the game. You see, right? You see the board, nothing changed. Yes, now I can, I just will, okay, I will not call it anything. So you just see the names, right? Here on the left side, you see it or not? No, you don't see it. But okay, I played it 2013 in a lane open tournament versus Alexeyenko Mikhailov. So the game was d4, d5, knight c3. Yes, that was one of the first tournament where I started to play this system. And now in this was which round? I forget. This was one of the late round, maybe five or some six. And before in the first round, I played against another grandmaster, Eduard Andreev from Ukraine. I played this bishop f4. So Mikhailo know about that, so he plays knight c6. Also very interesting line here. e4 I played, principal move, de, and d5. There is such a line. Knight e5, very interesting. And queen d4. In case of knight d4, he want to play knight f6 with normal development. So I go for something interesting here. Knight g6 and bishop is 3. Normal continuation is to take care or check first. But I wanted not to regain material balance, but to develop quick. So e5, he also plays for initiative. He goes for principal line. And I take de here. So queen already protects this queen. Bishop, I mean, protects the queen. So bishop e6 take because queen d4 leads to unpleasant intermediate check. And this position would be bad for black because this pawn is weak. And that's why Mikhail will take here. And knight g2. We see that I'm not going for queen e4 because I'm losing initiative after c6 move. And then this will go with tempo. So both players are fighting for initiative. So knight g2. With queen d4, I want to take with knight and attack this bishop. That's why he plays knight f6, long castle. Objectively, this position was okay for black, but he should play very precisely. So he goes for principal queen d4. Maybe c6 was interesting move here. He takes queen d4, knight d4. I want to exchange this strong bishop. And he goes bishop g4. In case of bishop d7, I wanted to play knight b5, I remember. Attack this pawn, and in case here, I have at least like check here and just go back. So pawns are equal and white has still pressure. But in this position, when he took on d4, he had in mind to play bishop g4, and maybe he wanted to provocate me for f3, then he takes, and then go for bishop d7. But I played this check, very unpleasant move. He played c6 because in case of bishop d7 would unpleasant take, and after knight d7 there was knight b5 with the same attack and also check after long castle and take here. So he played c6 and knight c6. This was the idea for both sides. He played a6 because b6 c leads to material losses after check and take here. So a6 was his idea, attack the bishop, and bishop a4. Strong move, keeping the eye on this. Of course, not bishop e2, because after he take bc, we am just piece down. Bishop a4. So both rook and knights are under attack. But the initiative and attack on the first side. So bishop d1, rook d1. And he played bishop e7. Uh, b5 was the interesting move, but white would have very strong pressure after knight b5 probably. Also, bishop b5 was very strong here. And the idea after b, knight b5, there is a mating threat on c7, and black cannot do anything here because rook c8, it's still mate. Check, rook d8 mate. Yeah, this kind of ideas was in the game. That's why he played bishop e7, and I played knight e7 move here. Uh, I, Now I don't remember actually what was the strongest plan here, but this is not important. I was going for knight e7, king e7, and bishop c5. This was my idea. So white is continue attack the king even in the end game with little amount of pieces. So king e6 only move. Knight e2, not bishop b3 because he put king on e5 and then rook d8 and can always sacrifice the rook for a bishop on d4. So knight e2 was my idea. With ideas of knight d4 or later bishop b3. So he played rook hd8, logical continuation. Knight d4 check. So after rook d4, I simply take with rook and have advantage in the endgame because this pair of bishops are very strong. So king e5, black has to control, keep the exchange in the uh, exchange material advantage and try to hold somehow. But bishop b6 strong move. The idea was not to take, but to give this very unpleasant check here. So rook d8 almost forced, and knight e2 back. So we see that king feels very uncomfortable. So according to computer, he somehow was managing to hold his position by black, but I never was worse. So this was objectively good choice to sacrifice like that. So knight f8. Alexeyenko wants bring this knight in that sense to control central square. Same time he opens this place for the king. But bishop d4 check follows. King f5 he played. He probably didn't wanted to go here because some also check was here, also knight was coming from this side. That's why he decided to go king f5. For example, also this was very unpleasant check here maybe, and instead of king e7, at least I have this and knight d5 fork, but probably I would not go for this. I don't exactly remember now what was my idea here. Maybe bishop b3 check was my idea, and after king e7, knight g3. With that, they give check, and in case of g6, I guess I wanted to check, and then check here, and then penetrate to d6, and with very nice compensation here. Maybe something else I wanted, I don't remember now, but he played king f5, knight g3 check, king g6. Now this is very bad, because check and knight e5 just completely destroys black's position. So king g6 only move, and f4. This was my idea. I was very proud that I found it during the game. Look at this move, guys. So I want to avoid the knight e6 with idea fork and very cloudy position for the king here, because f5 bishop e3 is like half mate here. ef, and the idea of f1 was not to take here. The idea was to open this diagonal for bishop and c3. This was a double exclamation mark. The idea to bring bishop on c2 here and disturb this king. And now he played fg. Computer somehow defends this position, but fg was, I think, decisive mistake because bishop c2 check, king g5. He miscalculated that after bishop e3 check, king g4. I have this rook d4 check here. Look at this steady kind of attack here. And he played king h3. The point was that after king f3, with attack my bishop, I had in mind to play simple move, bishop g1, block this pawn, and this move you cannot defend with mate on made with all pieces. So king h3 was only move, and yes, I think here was another beautiful variation. Is in case of king h4, I think rook d4 was my idea, and after knight g4, I wanted to give check here, and after king h3, um, here was rook bishop g1 blocking the pawn. With that, rook d3, and after rook d8, there was rook f4, and you cannot defend against mate because one knight takes on h2 or knight e5. There is a mate on h4. This was a beautiful mate, but Mikhail played like that, and bishop f5 check, only move, and rook h4 check, king, and he resigned because here is a mate. Yeah, this was a cool game. This was like study in the end. Karim, thank you for following. Yeah, and also my opponent liked this game. All right, this was a very good game, and thank you for follow, guys. One second, guys. My chat again stuck. I need to restart it definitely. I don't see any messages. I don't know why it happens like that. I mean, what is this? What the hell is going on here? All right, let's open a new board and let me find some good game. Okay, next game played between Efimov, Efimov versus Bronstein. It was played in USSR Championship 1942, so during the World War II, by the way. I didn't see any of your messages, guys. I'm sorry. Maybe now I will see some. I missed everything probably. So Bronstein was black against Efimov. E4 was played by Efimov. E5, and Efimov played King's Gambit. EF, Knight F3, Knight F6 by Bronstein. Jigsaw does, thank you, man. Now I see. Ruches. Yeah, that was cool game. Yeah, three pieces in the end, mating the king on the edge of the board. Yeah, it's not often happens nowadays. E5 played by Efimov here. Knight h5, there is such a line. This pawn controls g3 square, so we cannot go g4 here. And knight c3 played Efimov. d6, immediately break for this. And no, bishop c4 played by Efimov, attacking this weak pawn. You came and saw rook h3 mate. Cool, riches. Uh, and I took sorry, what do you mean? It's not my game. D take Bronstein here. And the question if Bronstein missed bishop f7 check here. Because after king f7, it seems like after knight e5, attacking king and this knight is hanging. But after king g8, queen h5, uh, probably he was count to get contraplay after g6 here. And in case of queen f3, um, there would be queen d4. My first thought, yes, it was my game against Oleksienko in 2013. But after the Efimov took knight e5, and this was mistake actually. Else another theoretical line by black is knight c6 here, and in case of d4 d, then queen e2, then d knight d knight e5. There is knight e5, queen e5, and queen e7. Black is okay here. But in this game, Bronstein took d and is a trap. Knight e5 mistake allows this queen h4 check here. After g3, there is a knight g3 or fg with idea g2. And now he played, Efimov played king f1 here. And now Bronstein played strong move here. And now Bronstein could give check on g3 here and take the material on h1. But um, after king g1, knight h1, for example, bishop f7, king d8, king h1, bishop d6 still was good for black, d4. But Bronstein was tempted with another idea here. Bishop e6, strong move he played. We will understand why. And the motive of this idea that all suddenly the first rank is not protected well by white. So they distracted this bishop from this diagonal, and we see why. Uh, the point was that king g1 was bad move, due of bishop c4 check, bishop c4, knight c4, then check on c5, d4, then bishop d4, queen d4, and mate on e1. This is what he wanted to move here, wanted to play after king g1. But bishop e6 played by Efimon in this position. Uh, maybe was better to give check c6 and knight f3 in this position. But he plays bishop e6, check on g3, and after that king g1 was played. Bishop c5 check, d4, and that was the idea of Bronstein, why he was so much tempted. And white was thinking that they are okay, because bishop f7 is a threat, dc is a threat, ag is a threat, but Bronstein calculated more. Bishop d4 check, queen d4, and knight e2. This was his idea. Fork, and after knight e2, there is a mate. This was his beautiful idea. After knight e2, he simply resigned. And we find some interesting line. Yeah, everything is hanging here. Zver, hello man, what's up? Let me find something. I don't know, shall I show you the famous game? Maybe not everybody knows it. So let's see how b3 first move was crushed by in one very famous game between very strong players. I will not tell who was playing, but it is very known. So so b3 was played by strong player. So this move is known like Larsen system. E5 played, bishop b2. This is very famous game. Yeah, the Whistler, exactly. Larsen versus Spassky. Okay, I understand you know, but I'm sure not everybody in chat knows this game, so I will show it. C4. Usually when I play b3, bishop b2, I'm not connecting with c4 ideas. I'm connecting with e3 and knight f3, immediate attack on this. So c4 played by Larsen. Everything go wrong for him today in this game. Knight f6 was played, and knight f3. If he want to play knight f3, he should do it immediately. So e4 by Spassky. Knight d4 played, and bishop c5 here. The point that now after e3, black even could exchange and play d5 is perfect position. That's why Larsen take on um, c6. But we see that black has excellent development because of this wasting of time of c4 here, also weakening this square. So e3 is necessary to cover this diagonal. Bishop f5 by Spassky not allows some d4 ideas and preparing long castle. Queen c2 played by Larsen, and queen e7. So supporting the pawn, and long castle is coming. It was played, by the way, in Belgrade 1971. Bishop e2 was played by Larsen. Even after d4, ed, bishop d3, take rook d8, black's position is better, they have better development. So bishop e2 played by Larsen. Long castle by Spassky. So all his forces are mobilized. So black simply has better position. This is a very strong pawn. And next, Larsen moves create a lot of weakness around his king. He played f4, using that ef not possible because of this, but it leads to more uh, weaknesses. More or less better was to play knight c3 or a3 here with idea b4, but f4 played, and knight g4, strong move by Spassky, and it puts white in critical situation. Yeah, he wants to sacrifice something here. Also queen h4 idea, queen h3 then, and g3 played by Larsen, trying to control this h4 square, and this is a famous idea. Yeah, for example, after castle, rook d2 was following here. Interesting move. And after knight d2, knight e3. Queen c1, for example, knight f1, king f1, and queen h4, crushing. Bishop g7 also was bad, because rook h8. Queen b2, for example, they follows with bishop e3. D, then knight e3. Completely destroy white's position. So Larsen did not find anything better than g3, and h5, very strong move here. Rook d2 also was possible, but Spassky had idea for direct attack here. And h3 played by Larsen. Maybe he naively thought that Spassky would take or just return, but here is a famous move, h4. This move, what Larsen probably missed completely. Now ag was played by Larsen, and after bishop d4, Spassky show variation, bishop g4, ag here, and after rook g1, rook h1 move, rook h1 and g2 here, and after rook g1 only move, queen h4 check here, and after king e2, this is not possible because queen f2, and after rook g2 there is a mate, and after king e2 there was queen g4 check, king d1, then queen g3 check, and king d1, there is a check on f3. No, after king e2, there is a check on f3, and then bishop e7 and bishop h4 mate. And after king d1, queen f2, strong move, queen e4, and simply queen g1 check, king c2, and queen goes to f2 and winning, because g1 is coming, knight c3 will be rook d2, or queen d2. This was by Spassky, but Larsen took ag, and rook g1, and Spassky finishes in style, rook h1, beautiful move. Look at this attack. So attacking the rook, and game is over here, because there is no defense. He has to accept the sacrifice g2, attacking the rook, and he played rook f1 because rook g1 was losing after check, king d1, and queen h1, and no defense for rook, and simply hopeless position. So he played rook f1, and after rook f1, there was check on h4, king d1, gf check, and white is simply resigned because they get mated. After bishop f1, there is a check. King c1 leads to mate in 2, and after bishop e2, there is a mate in 1. This is how Larsen was crushed in 17 moves with white. Crazy. Such a disaster. Okay, guys, I will probably make a break. I need to eat something, and then I offer to continue Karpov games. I guess Karpov games, his selected games, will be a nice choice. What do you think? Maybe it's a good idea, right? I will make break about 20-30 minutes and see you later. Thank you very much for your attention. And let's continue with Karpov games. Yeah. Okay, guys. About 20-30 minutes, maybe a little more. Depends. Okay, let me make some rate before I go. Let's see who is streaming. Yeah, I'm not saying you goodbye, I'm just saying bye. Oh yeah, to Levante, of course. Levante GM Tranquilizer is with Fat Mate. Fat Mate. He's online. Let me rate him. Rider on the storm. Riders on the storm. It's a, it's a love without a loan and dog without a bone. Rider on the storm. I don't remember text, but something like that. Fat rate. He needs some fat rate, I believe. Let me find this. Let me find. What the hell is this? There's a killer on the road. What the bloody hell is going on my page? I mean, where is the chat? Oof. 1 second, guys. I will go to this chat from another computer. I'm so silly. Sometimes I would better do it from here. Riders on the storm. So Twitch. Let me find. Let me find. First of all, I will close this chat, of course. Don't go. Don't go, guys. Don't go. Let me raid. Let me raid. What the hell is going on here? All right. So we need to raid. Oh, 1 second. Not like that. Not like that. Raid GM. Why need big letters? GM, and where is this? Like this. Tranquilizer. I guess I did it correctly. Yeah. All right, guys. All right, guys. See you later. Bye for now.